Okay. Hope everybody's feeling good this morning. My name is Haziq Ali, and I want to welcome you to a Wednesday. This could be the best Wednesday you ever lived, baby. That's a fact. I don't know if you ever thought about it like that, right? But this could be the best day you ever lived on planet Earth. That's something to get excited about. Give me a replay, gang, if you with me. You know, if you're watching the replay, let's get it. My man, Coach Spence in the house. We starting off good already, baby. I'm real glad you're here, man. I hope everybody's paying attention to what's going on out here, man. One thing I can say is that we don't have control of the news. We don't have control of the weather, but we got control of our businesses. We got control of our impact. We got control of our influence. Good morning, Queen. My man Yeshua in the house. Hey, it's check-in time, man. Y'all know how we do it. You know how we do it. What city you checking in from? What kind of business you got? How are you helping to change the world? Man, I feel really excited about the news that we just now put out yesterday. Some of you know, some of you don't, but we just now made the Inc. 5000 listing of the fastest growing companies in the entire country. We think that's pretty cool, man. I want to say good morning, millionaires. Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one, Dennis. Tijuana. Let's go, Tijuana. All right, Big Perk. Let's get it. Ali. What's cracking, Ali? Let's get it. Yeah, man. Let Flo know what's going on, man. Share this with somebody, man. Let them know we in the house. Let's get this party started. If you haven't liked the page or subscribed, make sure you do that. We need you to subscribe to that thing. Get the party cracking. This weekend's Kaizen Academy, we're just going to focus a lot on branding. We're going to focus a lot on branding. These next 2 weeks, we're going to go hard about branding because that's one of the assets that everybody has. I don't know. It be feeling like a lot of people don't even use it, though. Your brand is an asset, baby. Think about that. I'm going to call in on this live line. Let's get this party cracking. Y'all ready? Share this in a messenger group. Share it with a Facebook group. If you're rocking with us on YouTube,
you have something special. You have greatness in you. Hello, this is Les Brown, and you're in the right place at the right time because we're going to bring...
Please enter your...
Man, I messed up.
Please announce yourself.
I was supposed to let him say, we're going to bring the millionaire out of you. Hold up.
All participants are muted. Entry and exit tones are off.
All right. I got 7:30. That means it's time for me to say good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. I hope you're feeling incredible this morning. My name is Haziq Ali. I'm a revenue acceleration coach, a self-esteem development expert. And believe it or not, I think they the same thing. Ain't that crazy? I really believe that it's not just your network that equals your net worth. I believe that it's your self-worth times your network that equals your net worth. You can be in situations, man, it could change your life. But if you don't go into it with the right kind of attitude, if you don't go into it with the right kind of awareness, then what will happen, man, is you'll be in the opportunity and you won't be prepared. And then you'll say it was bad luck. You'll look back on your life and be like, man, I just had some bad luck. You ever heard that luck is when preparation meets opportunity? Well, see, if you don't have a high enough self-worth, you won't even see the opportunity, much less be prepared. That's why we always say you don't see with your eyes, you see with your mind. I think it's very important that you understand that when you're developing yourself, you are by extension developing your vision. When you develop yourself, you are by extension developing your capacity and your potential. It's amazing how much in return you get on that investment called personal development. So this morning we're talking about leadership. Yeah, I see all the business owners checking in. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, let them know what kind of business you have. That's important. That's important. Yeah, let them know what kind of business you have. Hey, appreciate that, Queen. Let them know what kind of business you have. All right, y'all. So this morning we're talking about the 5 P's of long-term legacy. The 5 P's of long-term legacy. Do you see yourself as a leader? I was talking about in the intro how, this weekend we're going to talk about branding in the Kaizen Academy. These next 2 weekends, we're just going to do a deep dive into branding, like, give you a bunch of these principles that maybe you never looked at with your personal brand and how you can be using it to monetize and accelerate whatever business you run, right? But even if you're not in this highfalutin space where you consider yourself a brand, we got to agree you're a leader, right? Do you think of yourself as a leader, right? Because the simple fact of it is, whether you think of yourself as a leader or not, that's back to that self-esteem thing. The fact is you're leading and influencing people every single day, and you don't even realize it. Your attitude alone begins to influence the room you walk in. Your attitude alone begins to influence the person that's on the other side of that phone or on the other side of that Zoom call. Your attitude begins to affect people. Your behavior begins to affect people just because they're around you. Sometimes these ways are seen, like, certain people will come in a room and people will literally start sitting up in their chair and all of that, Or certain people will come in a room and then you begin to adjust your speech. Maybe you don't talk with the same level of slang. Maybe before you were speaking in expletives and now you don't anymore, just because you hold them in a certain kind of regard, right? We as fellas a lot of times won't cuss around ladies, stuff like that, right? People are always being affected and affecting others with just their presence. And what I want you to think about this morning is that there are some actions, there are some philosophies that cast a bigger net than others, right? There are certain actions, there are certain ways of thinking about life that cast a bigger, I don't want to say shadow because this is about shining, right? But what we're going to say is that there are certain activities and philosophies that enhance and advance your life a lot more starkly. But even if you aren't doing those, you're leading. I just want to be clear about that. We are social creatures, y'all. We can't help but impact the people that we live around. We can't help but impact the people that we work with. And unless you're some kind of hermit, you're leading somebody. The question is whether you're hurting them or helping them, ain't it? Millionaires, a lot of people just go through life day after day, and they're seeking a bunch of immediate gratification, right? Their life is about distraction. They have no long-term vision for their impact on people's lives. They have no long-term vision for themselves. So they end up just living in this survival mode. It's all about hand to mouth. And once it becomes about hand to mouth, you become despondent, you become cynical, you become the kind of person who thinks everything is a game and you can't trust anything and like everybody's full of crap, right? But it's not really cynicism. I think it's your boy Nietzsche who was like, people would rather call life a void than feel devoid of life. He says it more eloquent than that. But the bottom line is that people would rather feel cynical and feel weak, feel resentful, feel bitter, rather than feel nothing at all. At least they get to feel alive. And so what you have is people that drown themselves in distraction because they have no long-term vision for their life. There's this book called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. Any of y'all know about Simon Sinek? He's a beast. He's done a couple of TED Talks, et cetera, and so forth. But he always talks about how if you're going to create a meaningful life, it starts with this question that a lot of people refuse to ask themselves, and then they become cynical. They stay in this emotional place. You say, hey, why are you in a bad mood? And they're like, oh, because something happened to me a couple hours ago, right? And then they stay in that place long enough, it becomes a temperament. You say, what's wrong? And they're like, oh, something happened to me a couple months ago, right? And then it stays long enough, it becomes a personality. And this is why we do personality development or personal development. Because if you let it become your personality, before you know it, you begin to leave long-term negative effects on the people around you. You begin to leave long-term negative effects on the projects that you attempt to coax to their potential. You begin to lead long-term negative effects on the people who give you the gift of influence over their lives. And what we're saying is, when you change yourself, it creates a ripple effect that begins to change the world. And so there are some clearly definable little metrics you can look at if you're looking to kind of increase your legacy. I'm going to give them to you in the form of P's. I want you to think about this. There are 5 of them that you can kind of contemplate. Maybe this will help you kind of shape more of your personal why. Let's try it out. If you're ready for the first one, somebody give me a number 1 and a share. Give me a number 1 and a share. And I'm going to give you like these 5 P's. Jot them down in your power book, right? Hopefully you keep a composition book around. We always say they're built 3rd grade tough. This is another resource that you're going to have as an entrepreneur and as a leader, whether you're a parent, whether you're a big brother or big sister. Maybe you just are in the midst of an organization and your particular personality type is missing from everybody else. That means you need to be a leader in that part of it. Right? I'm talking about you may be the person who is really, really good at empathizing and nourishing the team. We call that a spring personality. Well, that means you need to be a leader as it takes to growing the bond of the group. Maybe you're detail oriented. Maybe you're a fall personality. Well, that means you need to be a leader as it relates to pointing out the details and making sure that everybody dots their I's and crosses their T's. I could go on and on and on. My point is leadership, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Leadership is about a disposition, not a position. Leadership is not about a position. Leadership is about a disposition. Let's go. All right, the first one is purpose, y'all. The first P is purpose. Yesterday, you heard us talking about the fact that, like, really the secret is goal, purpose, plan. We just now said the goal is to leave a legacy, right? We're talking about the 5 P's of long-term legacy, right? So boom, there's our goal. But why is that important? Because if you don't have the purpose, then what happens is you end up having to push yourself instead of being pulled. The thing about a purpose, man, is that it magnetizes you and just pulls you over that track. It's harder for you to be distracted when you have this locomotive that's kind of pulling you down the track. You know what I mean? You see what I did there? Certain people think I sound crazy when I start talking about winning the Nobel Peace Prize. You know, the average winner is about 62 years old. We got time. But the whole point is, because I have a purpose, it forms certain decisions. It makes me not look at short-term gratification. It makes me more look at pleasure delay. It makes me not run off chasing whatever new shiny object comes across my viewpoint because I'm looking to, I know what I'm doing. You ever heard somebody say they know what they're doing? Check it out. I know why I'm doing. I know why I'm doing. Millionaires, what's your purpose? For a lot of people, you know, purpose involves helping others in some way. Maybe you find, like a lot of us, that you become more powerful when you see clearly the impact that you're having on other people. Maybe you're like most of us and you find self-absorption to be a fruitless pursuit. Oh, I understand self-preservation, but at what point is it time for you to leave survival mode and begin to think of yourself as a champion? At what point do you make a decision that you're looking to help others? See, it all comes down to that self-image. But a lot of times we don't have the power of purpose. Millionaires, your purpose might be raising your family. Nobody's saying one purpose is more important than another purpose. All we're saying is that you need to have one, millionaire, and nobody else can define it for you. The secret here is to take time to outline your true north, your guiding light. When you were young, you had primal motivations that you were taught by your parents, that you were taught by your peers. You were taught by preachers and teachers to begin deadening that. They told you things like, you'll never make money with that. And you listen to them. But here's the cold part. I can't think of a single profession where somebody ain't a multimillionaire by doing it. I don't care if you're talking about being a trash man. If you follow it to its logical conclusion, you can get rich doing anything. What is your purpose? Millionaires, a lot of you being able to find your purpose is going to have to deal with you prioritizing looking for it. Sometimes we talk about waking up early in the morning, and it sounds like something that people just say, like cliche. But a lot of times, your kids are making noise. You got the news on. You're listening to you never get time to think about what you're thinking about. So it's almost like you got to hustle backwards. Millionaires, when you begin to understand your purpose and then you begin to write it down, you begin to understand and identify the principles that are necessary to achieve that purpose. Right now, they're around you, but you're not mining your day for them because you don't even know why you're doing all of this. And it ain't even all that deep is knowing why, right? This is another big point. Right? It ain't all deep like, oh, God hasn't talked to me in his voice. You know, when Martin Luther King, right when he was about to give up, you know, he was falling to his knees. He was getting all kinds of death threats. He had got this death threat in particular that shook him to his core, right? Where something about the person's voice, we say, we're going to blow your head off and, you know, then we're going to firebomb your house. And he realized in that moment, this is back when he was in Birmingham, he realized that he was actually like scared. They're like, yo. And that's when he heard God's voice, right? That's when he heard God's voice. Now, he'd already graduated college early, been to seminary school, all of this stuff, right? His father had set it up for him to come and do the Ebenezer thing. But he knew he needed to step outside of his father's. It was a voice from God. But what if you ain't heard it yet? Right? What if you ain't heard it yet? Here's the whole point. It ain't really about you finding yourself so much as it's about you designing yourself. It ain't about you knowing your purpose. It's about you deciding your purpose. What the heck are you going to? Okay, this ain't going to be your purpose for the rest of your life. You don't have to get all heavy on yourself. But what's your purpose for your day? What's your purpose for your week? What's your purpose for this particular month? You ain't got to get all deep. Like, what's going to be my purpose 10 years from now? If you were to look back at your purpose 10 years ago, it's completely different from how you feel now, unless you don't wasted 10 years of your life. If you still think, I think Malcolm X said that, if you are still thinking the same way you thinking at 35 that you was thinking at 25, or that you're thinking at 25 as you was thinking at 15, if you're still thinking away at 50 that you was thinking at 40, you don't waste the 10 years of your life. Don't get all hard on yourself like you got to have some Gandhi level, Buddha level, Confucius level, Imhotep level purpose. What we're talking about is, what do you have? What do you love to do? And how can you use it to help other people? Write this down. Here's a formula, Law. Here's the formula, y'all. Write this down. This is important. Passion times service equals purpose. Passion times service equals purpose. That's the formula. What do you love to do? How can you use it to help other people That's your purpose in life, baby. All right, if you're ready for the second one, give me a number 2 and a share. Give me a number 2 and a share. Give me a number 2 and a share. I appreciate that, Sodi. Man, you better talk about it. Dr. Monet, we got to chop it up, Queen. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's the formula. I talk about that in my book. I cannot wait to see what y'all think about my book. I'm very excited about it. And now I get to put on the back of my book, let a company, to the Inc. 5000 list. Y'all always would hear me say, oh, it works for click and order. It works for brick and mortar. Well, now we Inc. 5000, baby. They don't just get that out. You know how much they got to vet your company? Out of 7 million businesses with employees here in America, they just gave us one of the fastest growing companies in America. You got to love it, right? But that's what we talk about every day, revenue acceleration, right? Good stuff. All right, here's the second P. Here's the second P. Principles. Principles, y'all. Principles. Man, a lot of people don't understand this concept, right? But once you've made a decision, you don't have to make so many choices. You hear me? What eternal truths are in accordance with this purpose you just wrote down? I'm talking about eternal truth. I'm talking about doing the right thing is never wrong, y'all. I'm talking about money comes and goes, but self-respect is eternal. What eternal truth lines up with this purpose of yours? Is it justice? Me and wifey been watching this Netflix. No, it's not Netflix. It's on Amazon, actually. It's about John Brown. It's amazing, right? But you got to think about the difference between legal and moral sometimes in your life. He got this one line where he talks to somebody, he's asking them, are they still a virgin and all? And he's like, yo, your soul is more important than your life, right? Your soul is more important than your life, right? I think that's a hell of an eternal truth. Some of us be so scared trying to survive, man, that we never actually begin to live. What do you stand for? Is it justice? Is it fairness? Is it humility? Is it integrity? Again, you get to decide this. But I'm going to tell you what's horrible, making no decision at all. What if you have a handle on the principles you want to live with? Man, people start looking at you and feeling like, dang, like what is special about him? What's special about her? How come they're so unfailing? How come you can't make them, you can't uproot them? You can't get them. What you're doing is you're looking at a man or a woman of principle. When you get a handle on the principles you want to live with, you begin to identify them. You start to gain insight, baby. You start to gain self-awareness on what matters to you, on how you're going to lead, how you're going to make decisions. And to other people, it seems like a higher level of wisdom, when really you're just making all of your choices on a decision that you made. All your choices are already made because you've made a decision. They say to decide, right? It's got that same suffix as homicide or suicide, like homicide. You kill somebody, suicide. You kill yourself, decide. You kill off the other options. When Jeff Bezos started Amazon, he had 8 core principles, right? 8 core leadership principles that help create the culture of the organization. Now they're up to 14. And if you ask a worker in that Amazon warehouse how they feel about the principles, but this is what we mean by every time something increases in quantity, You start to lose quality. How powerful do your principles need to be if they're going to withstand you becoming $1 billion company? If you're ready for number 3, give me a number 3 and a share. Give me a number 3 and a share. I got a couple more for you. We talking about long-term legacy, right? We talking about long-term legacy. Millionaires. Principles matter. Principles matter. Here's a third one, y'all. Here's a third one. Yeah. Appreciate that. All right, let's get it. All right, here's a third one, y'all. Planning. The way I always put it, Coach John Wooden, he has one of my favorite quotes of all time. He was like, the will to win is really the will to prepare. The will to win is really the will to prepare. If you're going to leave a legacy that outlives you, you got to at least be thinking about it. Don't that make sense? You got to plan for how, my mentor, he always says that success without succession is failure, right? Like, I love working with my business partner and the fact that, both of my business partners have their children involved, not just in the office, but now, his oldest son done come home from college and is working with the business. Do you understand what kind of education he's getting? That takes planning, y'all. I just now got an email from a credit card like, hey, add your children as an authorized user. And of course, they have a fee involved, right? But check it out. It's a no-brainer if you're planning, right? Millionaires, maybe you're planning on expanding your team because you know that you're going to need to carry out a lot of these ideas you have, right? Maybe you're planning on the pieces of your mission you're going to institute and win, right? But your principles being at the heart of the organization means that you need to be planning what that looks like in these different areas. With the revenue acceleration cycle, we give you 7 different kind of like categories you're supposed to be looking at. Any business, right? If you put some planning into each of those categories, whether you're talking about leads, whether you're talking about the meaningful conversation and engagement that you have with them, whether you're talking about the appointments, whether you're talking about the presentation and knocks out their objections before they say them, whether you're talking about the conversion and what kind of offer you make, whether you're talking about how you follow up and the different methods of delivery, whether you're talking about the upsell, which is step number 7, each of those, if you plan them out, you can't help but be ahead of everybody around you because most people are just drifting in the wind. But what are your principles? Give me a number 4 in the share. All right, we almost got to get out of here. I got to hurry up. All right, so the next one is positive impact. Positive impact is number 4. I love how in science, positive is a plus sign and negative is a minus sign. Don't that take it out of that place of like it being so emotional and you're not being positive, right? But nah, just look at it in terms of science. Are you adding on or are you taking away? Are you adding on or are you taking away? Don't forget, y'all, the devil's government name is distraction. A lot of people don't know, but in Hebrew, they call the devil Beelzebub, and Beelzebub means Lord of the Flies. Why? Because it's about walking that straight path. And what do flies do? They come and start distracting you. Millionaires, if you don't have your things set up according to your principles, if you haven't first decided your purpose, looked at your principles, decided to plan, what will happen is when it's a choice between that positive impact and some temporary profit, you're going to blow it. Millionaires, positive impact. How does the world work? How does your community work? In what way are you contributing to the growth, the more people around you that have it, the more they can give it, right? A rising tide lifts every boat in the bay. What are you doing to aim the might of your principles? Aim the might of your purpose. Aim the might of your planning in that particular, specific, intentional direction. And then the last one I got for you, y'all, is the patience part. The patience part. Number 5 is patience. Progress is going to take time. The season that you plant the seed is never going to be the season where you reap the harvest, right? You got to be practicing expectation management, even with the team around you, right? They need to know that Rome wasn't built in a day, that the pyramids weren't built in a day. You know, that everybody needs to understand that every single move they make, the big steps, right, are made up of the little small steps, right? The people around you got to understand that. You're not going to build a personal legacy without having a team around you, without having an organization that sees their vision and the vision as well. There are going to be times when you're going to ask yourself if it's worth it. That's when you get to refer back to your purpose, baby. But you got to have patience. Anything worth having is worth doing it right. And there's a reason you're striving, millionaire. It's not what you're looking to have. It's what you're looking to become. All right, it's affirmation time. I hope that was helpful for you. Hope you got something out of it. You know, make sure you share it with an entrepreneur who needs it. But now it's time to do that part that you can't delegate. This is the part your team can't do for you. We're talking about rechanneling and rewiring the neurons that wire together. The neurons that fire together, wire together, right? You don't even have to believe the affirmation for it to come true. It's just about you keep on saying it. You don't have to say it all crazy like us in the beginning. Maybe you just say it to yourself. Maybe you just repeat it in your head, right? But give yourself the gift of positive affirmation. Repeat after me, millionaires. I am